Father who raped daughter for 15 years sobs in court as he's finally sentenced after she caught him on the run in Germany. Frank K.C. Hurdle and his wife Judy, the victim's mother, fled Arizona before the trial in 2000 and lived a secret life in Germany. His daughter and victim Heather Orr tracked Hurdle down to a bar he was running after seeing a news article about her grandfather being arrested. Hurdle sobbed an apology to his daughter Heather Orr at his sentencing in an Ohio court on Tuesday. Mrs. Orr, 31, told the court, "I love my dad because he's my dad, but he hurt me more than anyone could imagine." She was told authorities she was molested from aged 3 until 18. Her husband Daniel Orr told the court his wife had lost her childhood and begged the judge to send Hurdle away for a long time. Hurdle sentenced to up to 95 years in prison and will not be up for parole for 20 years. A father who fled the U.S. before he could face justice for molesting his daughter has finally been sentenced in Central Ohio after she tracked him down and then bravely stared him down in court as he was handed up to 95 years behind bars. Frank K.C. Hurdle and his wife Judy, the girl's mother, fled Arizona before his trial in 2000 and lived a secret life in Germany for 9 years before his daughter Heather Orr, now 31, tracked him down in 2009 and he was finally arrested in 2012. He had raped his daughter Heather from the time was 3 until she was 18 and cruelly claimed it was to teach her a lesson about men. Hurdle had used his brother's identity to take loans from the German government and run a bar and grill. The parents refused to allow Mrs. Orr's brother to contact her. The pedophile was finally captured thanks to the detective work of Mrs. Orr herself. In 2009, she typed her abusive father's name into Google and found a news article about her grandfather, who shares the same name, according to the Columbus Dispatch. Hurdle Sr. had been arrested on tax evasion at Heathrow Airport in London after he allegedly owed $1.2 million to the Canadian government. Comments had been made about the Hurdle family at the bottom of the article and Mrs. Orr contacted people by email to see if they knew more about her father. A website for a bar and grill revealed that her father was the owner and someone sent her a picture of her brother standing outside the business. Hurdle was finally arrested and extradited back to the United States in 2012. His wife Judy Hurdle is not believed to face charges. On Tuesday, the 51-year-old Hurdle was sentenced to serve between 19 and 95 years in prison for assaulting his daughter during their time in Ohio. He pleaded guilty Monday to 3 counts of rape and 2 counts of gross sexual imposition. He was sentenced to 5 to 25 years for each count of rape and 2 to 10 years for each count of gross sexual imposition. Hurdle admitted in court that between 1993 and 1995, he raped and molested a female relative under the age of 13, according to the Columbus Dispatch. Hurdle moved his family to Arizona where he continued to abuse his daughter. He was charged and found guilty in 2001 of the crimes but fled the country. Before he was sentenced, the judge allowed Hurdle a chance to speak before the Delaware court. Rising to his feet, he faced his daughter and in a high-pitched wail, sobbed, "I'm terrible sorry," adding that he wanted his victim to have closure. Mrs. Orr, 31, who is married and has an 11-year-old daughter, faced her abuser in court and revealed her identity. She said, "I wish more than anything that a stranger did this to me. I love my dad because he's my dad, but he hurt me more than anyone could imagine." She added that she now has an 11-year-old daughter, the age she was when the sexual abuse she suffered was at its worst. Mrs. Orr's testimony to the court was interrupted by Hurdle's cries of "I'm so sorry, Heather." The married mother said that the only thing her father was remorseful about was being caught and sent to prison. As she finished speaking, he yelled, "I love you, Heather." Mrs. Orr's husband Daniel described his wife as a hero, not a victim, and took the stand to ask the judge to put Hurdle away for a very long time. He said, "She lost her childhood. She should never have had to face anything that she faced. Outside of the courtroom, Mrs. Orr told NBC4. "I want to give a face and a name to women. I want them to stand up and say this is not right, what is happening to children and women who are abused." Hurtle pleaded guilty to 3 counts of rape and 2 counts of gross sexual imposition in Delaware, north of Columbus. Mrs. Orr previously told authorities her father molested from the time she was 3 until she was 18. He faces 19 to 95 years in prison. Mrs. Orr has long sought justice. She first told someone about the abuse when she was in 8th grade in 1991, living in Ohio. While a friend's father reported her allegations to authorities, prosecutors did nothing. Her family then moved to Arizona and the abuse continued. When she was 18, she and her father went to a joint therapy session during which her father admitted what he had done and said it was, according to court records, a sexual lesson for his daughter on how men behave. The therapist then reported him to police and he was arrested. When out on bond, he and his wife fled the country. It will be 20 years before he is up for parole.